But if your camera is a phone camera or it is a 30,000 euro, 50,000 euro Arri Alexa, there is no much big difference if your story isn't good. And the biggest downside is, imagine if Hollywood is using this program to color grade their films. Can you imagine what you need to know to be able to do that? Making this story interesting that you're filming. Your camera is a tool that helps you to achieve good storytelling. And there are a few good things about it. I mean, it's the industry standard for a reason. Then there are a lot of plugins and a lot of tutorials you can learn on. You can see how does it work. Yes, this is so overwhelming what you can do with this program. All right, filmmakers, Christian Schuh here, and let's cut straight to the chase. Back then in 2015, when I started filmmaking, I thought I will just need everything. I needed special acoustic foam I put to the wall. I needed, of course, a camera. I needed a stabilizer. I needed lenses. I needed a powerful editing system. I bought a fly cam that I never had used before. I bought a drone. I bought a gimbal later on. I had all of this gear and more gear and more gear and more gear. I built up a green screen studio with a good friend of mine. But let's face it, I never really needed all of this. And that's why I'm here today. I want to tell you what you really need to start earning with filmmaking. I used the green screen studio for 2 paid online courses in 2 years. So looked after that in retrospective, it was quite a waste of money, a big waste of money, and also a waste of time. I could have saved thousands of euros if I wouldn't go ahead with this. And same with my other equipment. Until I finally needed that, I could have bought a better and newer one already. So our topic today is a rather simple one. It is about filmmaking gear that makes you really earn money. So let's dive right into it and start with the very basic gear. Talk about smartphone. I mean, the pros are obvious. Everybody have one. It's very easy accessible, and the apps that are there for filming are enormous. They can do so many things, and the sensors gotten better over the years, and you can film in 4K and all of these things. It's really amazing what happened to smartphones. But there is also a downside to that. And when we talk about smartphones, in general, the sensor of the smartphone camera lens is quite small. And the smaller a sensor is, the less light it can take. That's why most phones have a very bad low light performance. Maybe not for the phone itself, and I know there are software enhancements and AI in progress that will make the picture look better. But when we have a look at raw camera data, and that's what we filmmakers want to look at, it's not so good. And then there are other things like the audio situation. The audio quality with a phone recorded, to be very honest, it's just terrible. You need an external microphone with your smartphone, otherwise that doesn't work. And the last point is that, of course, you have a lot of better controls. You can adjust a lot more easy your picture and fit it to your needs. But of course, there are also downsides. Even a second-hand camera can be quite pricey, and it will be bigger and bulkier than your smartphone. Of course, it's heavier. You have mostly the battery hustle. You need to make sure that you have charged enough batteries in advance so you can film the whole day if you need to film the whole day. And even though your second-hand DSLR might come with the lens already, if you want to change this lens, you also need to pay a lot of money. So it's definitely more heavy and more pricey. So to finish the basic gear, we need to talk about a microphone as well. And I would recommend here a shotgun microphone. There are a few pros on this side. Your audio quality will improve immediately. The quality is so much more better than just using, for example, the internal camera's microphone or the internal smartphone's microphone. It's not comparable. And you will have a lot more manual adjustment over it. You can choose to set up the audio in the way you need it, fitting to the people in front that you're filming. And the next point is it's directional. As long as you point it towards where the audio comes from, it will lower the background noise, not erase them, but it will be a lot better to understand the voice if the microphone is pointing in the right direction. Next thing is it's still affordable. You can get a good quality shotgun microphone for a rather good price. But there is also a downside to this, and the downside is it's definitely adding bulk and weight and mass to your setup already. So no matter you use a phone to film or a camera to film, it will make it look bigger, and it will be bigger as well. And there is another thing, it will need external power source, either brought in by the camera with a cable, which will drain your camera battery faster, or it will need to come in through batteries that needs to be changed regularly. This way or the other way, you will need to make sure that there is more power behind it. All right, let's talk about lighting solutions. And in this case, I would like to compare three different kind of lights. One is LED panels, the other one is spotlights, and the third one is ring light. Which one has a benefit over the other? So when we're talking about LED panels, we are also talking about those small clip-ons that you can put on your camera that will help you to light like 1 or 2 meters in front of you in a very good way, and after that, that's it. So LED panels have some pros, definitely. Yeah? They are pretty advanced at this time in 2024. They're very versatile. They either come as bicolor or even RGB lights, so you can use color in your videos as a background source or in front to lighten up a wall, to lighten up the background, something like this you can do very easily. Mostly they have a soft light diffusion built in already, so you don't need to add another soft box or anything like it. You can just build them up and go for it. And another point is they need a lot less energy than the standard tungsten light or something like that. But of course, there is also a downside to that. And the first and most important point with LED lights is they are pricey. Good ones are very pricey. Of course, you can use them forever, but they come at a hefty price tag, especially if you are just starting out in filmmaking. And then there is another point. They are heavy. They can be heavy. You need to carry them around. You need another light stand for them. Depending on how you want to set them up, maybe you need even a heavy-duty light stand only for this. All right, let's talk about spotlights, especially also compared to LED lights. Spotlights are perfect for filming outside because they are so powerful. They can become a sun in your films, and they will produce a lot of light that hit the subject. So especially in light surroundings, this powerful source is really good. Another good point and another pro is it is very focused and very directable. It's not spreading somewhere else. It's focused on a certain spot, and that's why the name is called spotlight. But there are also other not so good things about it. Especially when you set it up, it will create a very harsh shadow. A very big shadow, not a soft shadow. You will see that directly behind you there is a shadow of that person you are hitting the spotlight to. If this is not the idea behind the film, if this is not wanted, then you need to modify this spotlight with some diffusion to make it a lot more soft. And another thing is those spotlights can be pretty heating up. Back then in the old times in TV studios or on film sets, it was always so hot because of those kind of spotlights. And the last light I want to talk about with you is the so-called ring light. For sure you've seen that before. It's definitely a LED ring. It's just a LED ring. Sometimes you can even put your camera in the middle with an accessible stand already prepared for the camera. However, this is a very special light. It is perfect for beauty shots, for portrait, for everything where the face is very close to the camera, because it will create this kind of light circle in the eyes that looks very appealing, especially if you are doing fashion, beauty, jewelry, photography. But if it comes to a normal use, it's rather limited because, like I said, it's really made for those kind of uses that I mentioned before. And it will really smooth the skin. Also, it's very easy to set up. I mean, you set up the light, you put the camera inside and that's it. And you can start. But where there are upsides, there are also downsides. And one of the downsides is definitely the limited use of this ring light. Ring lights, they are really mostly for fashion, for beauty, for jewelry. And that's it. They are focused on one part of the body, mostly the face. Do I need the ring light and does it apply to what I want to film later on in my filmmaking career? Let's get to the next point. And the next point is software. And yes, software is huge. You have so many choices. Also, the depth of each program can be pretty overwhelming, can be pretty steep, this learning curve that you need to go through. So I've chosen 4 programs that I want to introduce you to. And at the end, I hope you can decide which one is interesting for you. And we can start with the first one directly. It's Adobe's Premiere Pro with the Creative Cloud. This is what I'm using since 2015, and this is also the industry leader worldwide. It's the most used editing software in the world, and there are a few good things about it. I mean, it's the industry standard for a reason. Then there are a lot of plugins and a lot of tutorials you can learn on, you can see how does it work. But there's also a downside to it. Nowadays, it's a fully expensive subscription model. You need to pay a lot of money every year only to be able to use this program. And at the same time, the learning curve is also very steep. So if you want to succeed in filmmaking and in editing with this certain program, you have to learn a lot. You have to really dive deep into this topic. And the last point about this is, if you want to be fast in your editing skill and be fast in work with this program, you need a powerful computer to achieve this. Okay, let's get straight to the next software, shall we? It's Blackmagic's DaVinci Resolve. I'm not sure if you heard about it, but it's outstanding and popular for one thing. It's the best color grading solution on the whole market. There is no better color grading solution than Blackmagic's DaVinci Resolve. And of course, this is outstanding. The way they do that, the way they achieve that is so much better than anything else that you've seen. And that's why also Hollywood is using this software to color grade and color correct their footage. At the same time, it comes at the beginning without any cost. They have a free version you can start with, and only later you can level up. And the good thing as well is an all-in-one solution. You can do everything just within this one program. You don't need another program. For example, Creative Cloud and Adobe is doing that. You have your Premiere Pro, you have your Audition, you have your After Effects. They are all separate programs that work together, yes, but at the end you need to go through all of these programs by yourself. DaVinci Resolve is one program and covers all of this, even visual effects. But there is a downside to DaVinci Resolve as well. And the biggest downside is, imagine if Hollywood is using this program to color grade their films. Can you imagine what you need to know to be able to do that? Yes, this is so overwhelming what you can do with this program, and the learning curve is a lot steeper than with other programs in comparison. And another thing is, you need to have good editing machine to be able to nurture the needs of DaVinci Resolve. Okay, the next software we are having a look at is Wondershare Filmora. It's a software for beginners, definitely. You can easily go into that. You don't need to learn much. You can just start directly with editing, and it's rather held simple to begin this kind of editing with this program. Therefore, you have less options, of course, than Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve. But at the same time, this program is also running on less powerful systems. If you just want to try yourself out with editing for the first time, there you go. This is the perfect program for that. But There are also downsides to this, of course. In the not subscribed version, they also have a subscription model. You have a watermark in your exported videos, which is, of course, not good for you to use anywhere. And what is good at the beginning for you to start with, it's very easy. It's not so good if your projects advance, because Filmora struggles a bit when it comes to more and more complex workloads and more complex projects. So with this, it's really a good way to start, but I would ask myself, maybe it makes sense if you really want to proceed with filmmaking, if you are sure with that, maybe it makes sense to invest into a bigger program, have a steeper learning curve. All right, and the last editing software I want to talk about with you is called Luma Fusion. It's an app that will only work on iPhone and iPad, but it's what I call the only real editing software when it comes to this on mobile. There is no other that has so many possibilities and opportunities, but at the same time as well, it's a steep learning curve if you are not used to these kind of programs already. Sometimes I use Luma Fusion when I'm on the way, when I'm flying somewhere and I want to use those 6 hours. Of course, I can use Premiere Pro on my MacBook, but sometimes it's just nice to quickly take care of some social media footage. And there, Luma Fusion gives you enough possibilities, not so much hassle with other programs that you need to take care of. For me, it's really a nice way of doing things quickly, but with more power than, for example, CapCut or similar editing solutions. So, which one to choose now? Which software is the right one for you? Well, at the end, that's only up to you, and you need to decide which one fits best for you. I made a separate video about software and which software I use. You can find the video in the description below or somewhere here in the screen to click now if you want to dive deeper into this topic. Ultimately, what matters at the end is that it fits to you and your needs. You struggle a bit with technical things, with software. You really want to start low-key getting used to software like this, or you say directly, okay, whatever, I need to learn it anyway, then you can start directly with one of the bigger and more powerful programs directly. All right, let's talk about the next point, stabilization and accessories. Well, the most important device for stabilization surely is a tripod. And back then, when I started filmmaking in 2015, I bought one and it turned out it can't carry the weight. Quite a heavy camera and all the accessories on top and another battery and here another battery and there another audio recorder and whatever. And the mat box, it was too heavy to be able to carry for the tripod. So every time I loosened the screw, it was either tilting here or tilting there. So I needed to tighten the screw very much to be able to have it on a horizontal line. So shortly after that, I decided also to buy another tripod that will actually work with my workload that I had. But you might ask yourself, why do I need a tripod? I have the camera, I can do the handheld shot, right? But when we are talking about filming a scene and we are talking about filming it longer, it's a longer scene. Of course, you can handheld your camera, but you will start shaking after a while, and every shake you have in camera, you need to take out later with post-production, which means that's a lot of hassle and a lot of work for you to do. So the more easy way is you just take a tripod, put your camera on top and let it run. You stand behind, you have a look at it, and you control the picture, of course, that's what you always have to do, but you can focus on the frame itself and not on holding the heavy gear. Trust me, it can be quite heavy after a while. Another point that is important with this is you need a tripod for consistency. Let's say you're filming an interview and one time you hold the camera like at this angle and next shot you hold it at this angle. It's only like a few centimeters, but the viewer can see this difference and that's inconsistent. That's what you definitely don't want. You want to be consistent in your shots, consistent in your look, consistent with everything, with the background, with the angle. All of this needs to be consistent, so the audience will focus on your content and not on what is wrong in the picture. Another important point is, what about long takes, like I mentioned before, but also time lapses? Time lapses you can't achieve handheld. It just doesn't work. Long exposure in the night also doesn't work. You will have a different shutter speed. Your shaking will cause the picture to be fully blurred out. It doesn't work. You need a tripod. That's it. Well, holding a camera in your hand isn't a big deal, right? And especially when you're just starting out with filmmaking, I just guess your camera is rather light. Try this, huh? You take 1 liter glass bottle and hold it like this. And you hold it, and you hold it, and you hold it. And you tell me after 5 minutes how you feel. You tell me after 10 minutes how you feel. You can write that in the comments below. And now imagine you do this the whole day during an 8-hour event, or during, even if you film a commercial, you film 12 hours per day. And then how do you do this? How do you want to achieve it? By just holding your camera in your hand all the time like this. It's simply not working. So long story short, you need a tripod. And there is another thing to it. Let's say you have an event and you film in front of the stage. You want to pan and tilt. Yes, of course, you can do that with your camera. You can pan, you can tilt and all good, but you want to have repeatable movements. That's important in filmmaking. You want to maybe have the same movement you did before, and you need to do another 8 or 10 or 12 times until you have the fitting move that you want to achieve for your film. And this is only possible with a tripod, and especially with a tripod with a fluid head. So when we talk about this, it comes to the question, which one is the right one for you? Okay, so let's talk about tripods. Your tripod must be sturdy enough to be able to carry your weight, carry the camera's weight. And even though you might think now, yeah, my camera is very light, you need to think a little bit further. Your camera will be maybe not always this light. Maybe you will buy another camera later, a bigger one, more powerful one. Maybe you will add accessories like an audio recorder on top, or a monitor or a screen recorder, something like that. You will on top, so it will be more and more and more heavy over time. So you need a sturdy one. At the same time, you need a more light one because you want to carry it around, right? You need a tall one to be able to shoot above other people's head, and you also want to make sure that this tripod can lower extremely, so you can film from the bottom and it still looks nice and you can like really go down. So the question is, which one is the right one? And I put a few of them in a comparison, and I like divided them into like the basic ones and medium ones, and of course the premium ones as well. So let's start with the basic ones. The basic ones are actually pretty easy to find. You can check at Google or directly at Amazon and search for small rig tripod. You can search for Amazon basic tripod. I was really surprised to get something for such a low price in such a good quality. All right, let's go ahead and go directly to the next category, the medium range. The medium range, I have 3 names for you. It's Manfrotto, Benro and Cam Gear. And it turned out my first ever tripod that I used back then in my green screen studio in 2015 was actually a Manfrotto. Yeah, I bought the wrong one, obviously, because it couldn't support the camera weight, but I was quite happy with it. It did what it was supposed to do. And in retrospective, quite a good experience for medium range tripod. And then last but not least, we are coming to the premium section. The premium section includes brands like Sachtler, Vinten, O'Connor and Miller. And those kind of tripods, of course, they do more than just being a tripod. They support heavy duty camera gear. We are talking about 20 kg and more. So for example, Sachtler is also one brand that I particularly use. I have my main tripod is from Sachtler and is a carbon fiber tripod, and it's really very nice to work with. It's easy to handle, it's easy to store, to build up, and it's light. But of course that comes at a hefty price tag, and I personally wouldn't recommend this for beginners because it's a bit too easy. To me, that's like if you to learn how to drive a car and you start directly with automatic gear box. This is a shortcut of learning how to drive. If you learn how to drive with manual gear, that's the real deal. And if you can drive with manual gear, you can also drive with automatic. If you can drive with automatic only, you will never be able to drive a manual gear car. And that's like how I compare that with this tripod. This tripod is so easy to use. Of course it's nice and of course it's good, but you need to know the basics, and maybe the basics, this tripod will help you a lot already. You need to learn from the basics and then you advance. Also, to be very honest, almost all of the Sachtler tripods are too advanced for a small camera and also too pricey. All right, guys, enough with the gear. Let's get to the execution. And actually, it's pretty simple. Start with what you have. Buy what you need, not what you want, but starting out with what you have and start to tell a story. Start to focus on making this story interesting that you're filming. Your camera is a tool that helps you to achieve good storytelling. But if your camera is a phone camera or it is a 30,000 euro, 50,000 euro Arri Alexa, there is no much big difference if your story isn't good. It's all about story and narrative and how you conduct that together later. And when it comes to editing, start with the free software. And later on, you can still use some more advanced software. But you need to start. Start with something easy so you can get a feeling of what is necessary and how you can go ahead with it. All right, let's talk about monetizing, because at the end, it's about earning money, right? And that's why you are here. So I was filming commercial and we had a new Porsche Taycan for that. And I was with the team there. We filmed beautiful scenes of this Porsche driving through forest areas and more or less secluded areas with a very nice landscape. And we had all of this and a few drone shots as well. And only later on I realized, oh, there is something missing because I choose a certain royalty-free music. So I used to cut to the music. So I was missing a certain part, maybe 3 or 4 seconds of a drone shot. And I couldn't recreate it because we only had 2 days with this very new car. Obviously, we were in a rush. So I needed to establish something else. I needed to find a drone shot that looked the same, was in the same roughly time. It was like autumn already. So it needed to fit the color, it needed to fit the surrounding, the trees and everything. With this, I was looking for some stock footage for my film. I find most of the things at Pond 5, but let me tell you, there are other ones as well. There is Adobe Stock or Shutterstock, just to name 2 more competitors. I found this perfect drone shot that I needed there, and of course I was happy to use it. And that's what I can recommend you at first. Why not? I can be your customer. You can set up very easily a stock footage account, like as I said, at Adobe, at Shutterstock or at Pond 5 or many other possibilities and other stock footage companies around there. You can set up your account and whatever you film, you cut out 10 or 20 seconds from that and you put that online and have clients that might be interested into this and buy from you. Of course, nothing will happen when you just put 10 videos there, but with this you can start to build up your stock footage library. This is very interesting also to generate passive income later on. Another very important part is that you build your own portfolio with scenes that you've shot already. Because your clients and your future clients will ask you for that anyway. They will ask you about what is your experience, what have you done, for which company have you worked before, you fit in any special area you are used to work with, and ultimately, where is your film? Where is your show reel? Show me what you've done. This is what they want to know. And the last point in monetizing is also pretty simple. It's networking. You need to attend workshops. You need to attend meetings with other filmmakers, with business leaders. Yeah, everybody you get to know is interesting for you. And that's what you need to start with at the beginning. About monetizing and making money, I also made some videos already. You can find the link in the description below, as well as now here somewhere on the screen. You can just click, watch it now or save it for later. It's fully up to you. And about networking, I will make another video precisely on networking, because I believe that this is a very, very important topic. So I truly hope I was able to help you on your filmmaking journey. And if there was something in the video that you've liked and you've learned from that and it helped you in any way, I would also be very happy if you helped me. And if you like this video, if you comment on it, if you subscribe to the channel, so you can also stay up to date with the latest filmmaking tutorials that I do and surrounding commercial filmmaking area. And until I see you again and you see me again, keep it rolling.